Hi all. After the disappointing defeat that I suffered 2 days ago, I played yesterday evening a nice game at the chess club, and I want to show it to you. I'll start right now because it's quite a complicated game, so there is a lot to say about this. This way of starting d4 and d5 is of course very uncommon, but we get into this well-known Benoni defense. So it's just a different move order, but it's just the normal Benoni that we are playing here. Here he played knight to f3. I castled, bishop to d3. This is all theory. And here I played a6, and a4 is the standard reply to prevent b5. With white, if you play against the Benoni, you have to prevent b5. If black can play b5, then black has a very beautiful position. Rook to e8, castling, and now bishop to g4. The light squared bishop is often a problem for black, especially if white has played h3 before. Then it's very difficult to develop this light squared bishop without blocking the knight from b8 that wants to go to d7. So, well, bishop to g4, and here my opponent played queen to c2. Now, during the game I thought, okay, his idea is to unpin this knight, so probably he wants to go with the knight to d2 and then bring to c4. Or maybe before going to c4, playing h3, and then I will have a problem with this bishop where to bring it. If I bring it back to d7, then my knight is blocked and cannot be developed. So that's the reason why after queen to c2 I decided simply to take on f3, and he took back with the rook. Now knight to d7, and here he made the first mistake, and that is playing b3 here, with the idea of going with the bishop to b2. But of course there is here a long diagonal that becomes now very attractive for me. Now instead of b3 there were actually two other options. One of them would be simply to play bishop to d2 and later bring the rook to the center to prepare eventually e4, e4, e5. Another idea could be to play rook to a3. Now rook to a3 is a move that is seen in games against the Benoni, and the idea, it looks a bit strange, but the idea is later to bring this rook to the king side and use it for a king side attack. But in the game the move b3 was played, and now knight to g4, making use of this diagonal with the idea of giving a check on d4, and also with the idea of bringing the queen to h4, so having attack on these two squares. So my opponent played g3 here to prevent queen to h4, bishop d4 check, and now he played king to h1. And king to h1 has a big disadvantage. The disadvantage is that the rook on f3 is undefended now. King to g2 would have kept the rook on f3 defended, so it would be less dramatical for white. He played king to h1, and now he played queen to f6, preparing knight to e5 because of this undefended rook on f3, and also threatening for the second time the knight on c3. Now here he played bishop to b2 to defend this knight on c3, and I played knight to e5, attacking the rook. And oh, I'm sorry, go back to the position. And my opponent decided here to play h3 and simply give this exchange. It's actually very interesting to see what would have happened after rook to f1. My plan during the game, in my calculations, I was planning to play knight takes d3, and after queen takes d3 my idea was to give a check on f2. But actually this check on f2 is not that good, because of the following variation: rook takes f2, bishop takes f2, and here actually my calculation had stopped. I had concluded here, okay, so this is good for me because I win the exchange, and later I can go back with my bishop to d4. But the thing is that my chess engine founds here the idea of forking with the knight these two pieces, the bishop and the queen, by first playing e5, and after d takes e5 playing knight to e4. So then my queen has to move and the bishop falls. So this means that during the game, me and also my opponent, we both made the same mistake in our thinking pattern, thinking that rook to f1 here was a mistake, would have been a mistake, but it was actually possible. Now there are other variations that Fritz finds, but I don't find them very clear. He says that after queen to e7 here, black still is in good position. Well, there is no material gaining here for black, but the position is of course positionally nice, in the sense of a strong piece here and pressure on e4. So still also this knight can come into play to one of these two squares. So in that case, yes, but I must say I didn't see this during the game. So let's go back now to how it developed further. He played h3 here, and I took on f3. He took on g4, and now I saw my knight on f3 in difficulties, because it's very difficult to bring it to a safe place. So what I did is I took on c3, and after bishop takes c3, I went with the knight to d4. So I was winning the exchange here, but these two bishops, if these central pawns are advanced at some point, then these two bishops can become very dangerous, especially in combination with this open h file. So it was not that clear. I played queen to b2 here, rook a to b8, b4, b6, and here rook to e1. I expected during the game that he would play a5, and I thought that this would be difficult for me if he would play a5, because of the taking. It takes with a rook, and I have this weakness on a6. So I was happy when I saw that he played rook to e1 here. I played a5 myself to prevent him from playing a5. He took on c5 now, and I took back, and now he played queen to f2, rook to b3. At last I have an open line, because having two rooks with no open lines, then these two rooks cannot do anything. So I needed to open some lines to have some activity for my rooks. He played here bishop to b5. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, like this. Bishop to b5 here. And I played, my rook on e8 was attacked, so I played rook to e7. And during the game I also looked at the possibility of playing rook takes e3. And if he would take here, then continue with rook c2. But I found it, I couldn't calculate it completely, the whole variation, so I decided simply to play in a more safe way and to play rook to e7 here. So rook e7, g5, queen to g7, and now he played rook to e3. He wasn't getting to time trouble here, so this is a big mistake because it loses material immediately. Rook takes e3. After rook takes e3, I take on b5, and now I'm attacking both pieces. I'm attacking the rook on c3, I mean, so he cannot take back on b5, because then I take on c3. Rook b3 was played, check here, king to g2, rook takes a4, queen b2, queen takes e4, check, king h3, and now there is actually a mate in 2, but I didn't see it. I saw a mate in 3 playing h5 here, and after g takes h, then queen h5, check, but actually one move earlier, queen, oh sorry, here queen to h5 checkmate was possible, but I saw the other pattern of first moving h5. So well, anyway, this was the game that I played yesterday night, and of course after a loss like the day before yesterday, it's very good to regain some confidence by winning a nice game. So I was very happy with this one. Okay, I see you next time on YouTube, and leave your comments. Goodbye.